Well, hello and welcome to not only the first episode of Desert Tiger Podcast for 2020, but also the first episode of Stripes. Stripes? Stripes? What is Stripes? You're probably asking yourself right now. Well, Stripes is the bonus show that we're going to be start doing here on the Desert Tiger Podcast. You guys have probably heard me say a few times in the past, we wanted to start doing some bonus episodes here of the show. I wasn't exactly sure what to do with it at first, but then I kind of looked at some of the feedback of the show, and I saw one of the biggest comments that I saw the most is that you guys you get introduced to amazing guests all the week. You get to go behind the scenes with them and see all the different things, their story, their path, and the incredible things that help bring it all together. But you don't really hear a whole lot about the main voice, the voice that you've heard the most consistently across about 90 episodes of the Desert Tiger Podcast so far, and that happens to be my voice. I am, of course, the host of Desert Tiger. My name is Colton G. And like I said, that was some of the feedback that I was seeing, and I figured that maybe this would be a good way to fix that, because after I did that little history of an accident I had back in the beginning of December, I saw a lot more of you saying that you wanted to hear more about me. So rather than taking away from the incredible interviews that you guys know and love as the main part of Desert Tiger, one of the ways that we're going to help take you behind the scenes of not only myself, but also more behind the scenes of Desert Tiger as well, is going to be this: Stripes. And then you're probably wondering, why are we naming it Stripes? Some of you, of course, tigers have stripes, and that is definitely one of the reasons behind this for sure. Is yes, tigers do have stripes. Little did some of you probably know that a group of tigers is also called a stripe. A group of tigers is also called an ambush, but I guess you guys would be called the stripe, or I guess I think you guys should be called the ambush, since these bonus episodes are going to be called the stripe. This, of course, is still the Desert Tiger Podcast, and I, as always, am your host, Colton G. So yeah, you're the ambush, and another reason for it is I'm a zebra in another part of my life, I guess you could say. As a pro wrestling referee, zebras also have stripes. So I figure it all comes together beautifully, and let's just make it happen together. And today on the first episode of Stripe, we're going to be taking you through what some of the plans are for Desert Tiger in 2020, some new things that you can expect, some other ways that we're going to be going behind the scenes, some of my plans for the year, and, well, just all sorts of exciting news, including a couple of changes. And I mean, don't be afraid at the word change, because we're not going to be changing up the incredible interviews with amazing guests that you guys have become so accustomed to hearing here on Desert Tiger. I like to say weekly, and some of you guys know that it hasn't been that consistently, but just like I'm putting my foot down on finally getting around to these bonus episodes, I'm also putting my foot down, and we're going to get some consistency rolling on the podcast as well, because, you know, motivation is one thing, but motivation is temporary. Diligence is that legendary stuff, and we're going to step into that this year. That's the mindset, and you know that you're going to be getting consistent episodes from here on out. So what is the change, though? What are we changing? And really, the main thing that we're only changing is we're going to start releasing episodes on Fridays now, instead of on the Thursdays that you guys have grown so accustomed to, so normalized to. And the main reason for that is new music releases on Fridays. And sometimes you guys, when you're fans of those musicians and fans of the podcast, you have to wait 6 days after the release of that new music for that interview with that guest to get that extra connection, to get that in-depth look into those extra songs that are helping drive your world, the soundtrack to your life, those songs that are helping motivate you and drive you through your day. We want to help coincide so that you can get that connection earlier. That's why we're going to fix this. Release episodes on Friday now so that you can get that connection, that in-depth view, that knowledge of more of what's happening with your favorite musicians and songs right away so that you don't have to wait half of the time, those extra 6 days. Like I said, we're fixing that now. The Stripe is going to be dropping on Tuesdays. Of course, the first episode, is going to be a little bit later on a Tuesday, so depending on where you live, it may have technically released on Wednesday, but the plan for the Stripe is Tuesday. That's also when we're going to be releasing vlog episodes over at our YouTube channel, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. I just want to talk more about what you can expect more from the Stripe in the future. Maybe I'm going to have some of my close and personal friends on the show. Maybe we'll take you behind the scenes of some of the other things that are happening here at Desert Tiger. Maybe some of the things that are happening with me as a referee or the trips that we're doing. And another thing that we're going to be doing this March is the best of 100. The best of the first 100 episodes of Desert Tiger, and you can expect that in March 2020. Of course, you guys know I once said that we were going to do this as a best of year 1 and year 2, but then I truly realized just how many favorite moments you guys had from Desert Tiger from what was 80 episodes of the show at the time. There was just so much content to go through. There's so many favorite moments of yours and mine that had to be compiled for that. And now it's going to be coming in a best of 100 this March in 2 to 3 separate parts. And of course, we do have a lot of your favorite moments from the past of Desert Tiger here, but if the episode is coming in March, that means that we still have a lot more time for you guys, the listeners of the podcast, to tell us what your favorite moments of the show are, the ones that maybe made you well up with tears in your eye a little bit. Don't worry, we won't tell anybody, but it's perfectly okay to cry. Maybe those ones that made you burst out laughing and roll around a little bit. What are those moments for you? Maybe you want to go ahead and hit us up on social media at either Desert Tiger Podcast or Desert Tiger Entertainment. And you can also email us at desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and send us a message telling us what your favorite moments of the show are so that we can go ahead and include that in the best of the first 100 coming this March 2020. Another wonderful thing that we're going to be doing with a lot of those clips is we're going to start posting them on our YouTube as well, because we know that you love sharing the podcast with your friends, with your family, with the people who you feel would really enjoy the show. And sometimes it's a lot easier to share a clip of the show than it is to try and get somebody to listen to an entire episode of the show. So, I mean, that's going to be one reason for doing that. Another reason is so that you guys can have your favorite moments of the show on demand on the YouTube so that you can relive them without having to go through the entire episode. I mean, I know a lot of you guys like to go back and re-listen to some of your favorite episodes of the show, but this is just another way to shine light on those episodes. So maybe you want to go ahead on over to our YouTube. That, of course, being a Desert Tiger Ent, and short for Entertainment, ENT, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, why don't you go ahead and hit that bell notification button as well, because we're going to be bringing you heard me say it earlier, some vlogs this year as well. We're going to try and make that a bi-weekly project, and that's going to be another way that we're going to be taking you behind the scenes of the happenings here at Desert Tiger, but also behind the scenes of the happening with me, Colton G, your host of Desert Tiger, so that you can continue to feel the connection with the guests of the show and with me, and we can continue to build the family, the group, the ambush. You guys, I constantly say that you guys are a family, and I want to include you as much in that as we possibly can. So why don't you head on over to our YouTube page, Desert Tiger Ent, give it a subscribe, give it a follow. These videos are also going to be dropping on our Instagram TV, also on our Facebook page as well. So if you're following us there, go ahead. Maybe you want to follow us on all three. That would be fantastic. I would love you for going ahead and going and doing that. You're going to want to head and check it out. We're going to be doing things like maybe some behind the scenes steps of bloopers and like messes up I do during interviews and during the editing process. Maybe we're going to take you, like, we haven't done video content for any of our interviews. Maybe we'll include some of that, give you guys a little bit of a visual aspect of some of the interviews here at Desert Tiger. And of course, like I said, we're going to take you into some of my life as well. Some of you have heard that I plan on making some music here in 2020. We can take you some behind the scenes of the creation of that. Maybe a little bit of my life as a pro wrestling referee. Take you guys out on the road. And of course, in 2020, we plan on putting more kilometers, more miles on the Desert Tiger odometer than ever before, and we are going to be going all over, and that's something that we're also going to be covering in the vlog, is those travels. And I would love to meet listeners of the Desert Tiger podcast in those different areas. I'm hoping to ref on over 50 different shows across Canada this year, and not only the central interior Thompson Nicola Valley region of British Columbia, where I reside, but also in places like Vancouver, Vancouver Island, Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Winnipeg, Toronto, and hopefully even Montreal. I hope to ref matches in all sorts of those places. So if you're one of the wrestling fans on the show living in one of those cities, maybe we can meet up. Maybe you can see me ref a match, and maybe we can hang out afterwards, film a little segment together, maybe even throw that on the vlog, show a little bit of the audience of Desert Tiger in there as well. Why not? You guys can go ahead and meet me, and there's going to be some other places I plan on being as well. And these also actually happen to be why I'm going to be in some of these other towns as well. I plan on hopefully hitting up the Calgary Comic Book Expo in April this year. That's always a fantastic expo that has amazing guests on it. And I would love to get down there to not only interview a lot of those guests, but some of you may know that I kind of like to do the cosplay thing a bit. I've done some Pokemon costumes in the past. I actually want to do a Moon Knight style idea in a bit, and like I want to do that for the vlog as well as being at the expo, talking to some of the people who are there and around the show. I want to hit up Pooza Festival in Montreal in May. And I'm not sure if that one's going to happen, but one I'm definitely going to make happen is Canadian Music Week, which also happens in May down in Toronto. So if you're one of the East Coast fans of the podcast, this is going to be the first time that Desert Tiger has ever traveled to the East Coast of Canada. So I hope to meet some of you, the East Coast fans of the podcast, while I'm out there. If you're in the West Coast, don't worry. Like I said, Calgary, Edmonton, I plan on hitting a breakout west. You guys know I love BOW. That always happens in October. And this year that happens in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which happens to be right beside my home province of Saskatchewan. So hopefully I can even travel home to Saskatchewan a little bit around that time as well. Give you guys a little bit of a look at where I grew up, what helped drive and inspire and help grow and nurture the individual who I am today. We can do all sorts of fun stuff like that. And of course, if you're in one of those places, hit me up. We'll meet up. We'll have an awesome little Desert Tiger meetup. You can tell me like what got you into the show, and you can tell me about what you're doing in your life. Maybe how the show has motivated you to chase your own dreams. Wouldn't that be incredible? I think that would be incredible. And one of the other reasons I definitely plan on hitting the road this year is going to be so that I can do a little bit of collaborating. Definitely a lot of songwriting I want to do, and I want to team up with some different artists as well in that process. And that's another reason I'm going to be hitting the road, because like I said, I plan on releasing some music in 2020. It's been a few years since I was involved in a band or a group that released music, and I want to fix that this year with not only one project, but two. One project will probably release music in 2020. I don't know if the second one will release music in 2020, but it's going to do a lot of the songwriting for that project. The other one is a little more forward in its progress, but in that one requires me to do a lot more singing, which is something that is also being worked on. Like I said, the music is being written, it's being worked on. I'm working on my songwriting flow, but I'm also working on my flow as a singer as well, and that's something that definitely I am spending a lot of time on. And there's also some other things like behind the scenes, like distribution, adding a label side aspect to Desert Tiger as well, because originally I wanted to start Desert Tiger as a record label in 2009. Well, go ahead, 11 years later, that actually might be happening, and that's where I'm going to be releasing the music through. Pretty cool, isn't it? And that's something that we're going to vlog a bit more on. It's going to be an incredible way, a lot coming from Desert Tiger, tons of content. We're really going to be stepping things up in this next year, and I can't wait for you guys to join me on this journey. And I know there's a lot of you who are sitting there saying, well, Colton, that's an awfully big list. There's a lot going on there. How are you going to balance all of this? How are you going to afford all of this? And of course, there's always those wonderful ones of you that go ahead and check out I Love DTP and pick up merch. And like I've promised, there's going to be a lot more of that coming in the extremely near future. Toques, hats, new shirt designs, tank tops, maybe even some booty shorts. They have been requested, so I mean, hey, if you guys want them, why wouldn't we go ahead and make them? We're going to make some more stuff, all sorts of different designs that we have brainstormed up and we're ready to get moving on, and I can't wait for that. But of course, besides those incredible listeners of the show that go ahead and cop that merch to support Desert Tiger, we're going to be taking on more sponsors. You guys have heard me doing some ad rolls calling out for sponsors recently, saying that they're going to be coming soon, and you're like, are they really going to be coming at this point? He's been talking about it for a while. It's been a few months. Are they actually coming? Well, guess what? I am extremely excited to announce that we are going to be partnering with some incredible brands, apps, all sorts of different things that I feel definitely will appeal to you guys, the listeners of the Desert Tiger podcast, because you guys are a unique listener crowd, and I wanted to really find unique groups to represent that, because I just don't want to shill out anything in front of you. You guys have heard me say before, buying a t-shirt a day keeps the dick pills away. We don't want to throw that. We don't want to throw like a ton of, like, I mean, sure, maybe a gambling ad here or there. We're not going to like muddle the show with all that stuff too, though. We actually want stuff that you might actually enjoy, something that might help change your life or help just ease you and help you connect to the things that you love more, or the things that you hear about here on the podcast. And you're going to be hearing those sponsors starting this Friday, so get ready for that. And like I said, you can always go ahead and check out ilovedtp.com so that you can go ahead and rep the freshest gear the Desert Tiger podcast has to offer you. You know how we do. And I mean, I guess there's only a few things I have left to say. Two things? No, three things, because you guys often know I love to end things off with, find your mountain, climb to the top, and sing your voice as loud as you can when you get there. But I know sometimes the journey to the top of the mountain can be hard. It can be hard to see where the top of the mountain is when you're climbing. It can be difficult. It's some Lord of the Rings stuff where you're getting covered in snow and it's falling on you, and you have to go through the freaking halls of Moria. I recently just watched the Fellowship of the Ring, so this stuff's very fresh in my mind. But yeah, it's some of that stuff where you're climbing and you're not really sure where the goal is, and then 2 movies later, you're like, holy crap, we're throwing the ring in the fire. We're throwing the ring in the fire, baby! That's some shit that it is. That's why discipline is the bomb, And I know that you guys are going to be reaching out for your goals. We're just starting out. I know a lot of you have New Year's resolutions, and I really hope you the best on them. Go ahead and actually hit me up on social media with your New Year's resolutions. Tell me what you want to achieve in 2020. I just spent the last 20 minutes telling you guys what I hope to achieve. Well, at least some of the things. We're going to take you more into exactly more of those things throughout the year with Stripes and with the vlog that we're starting over on our YouTube, over at the IGTV, over on our Facebook, that you're definitely going to want to check out. And you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to Desert Tiger, because we're going to be getting back into the rhythm of our amazing in-depth interviews this week, this Friday, to kick it all back off. And I mean, I guess there's two more things I have to say. The second thing, Australia is currently on fire. You need to help Australia. There's lots of animals. There's lots of other things that are going on. And there's a lot of people who are being ignorant to this situation because, well, it could happen here. And if it happened to you, you would want some help too. Would you not? Would you not hope that somebody would be willing to reach out to you to help save you if you possibly got separated from your home, your possessions, the entire life that you've built? That's what's currently happening in Australia. And if you have the opportunity to possibly do something about that, why not reach out and help do that? It'd be creating a lot more change than buying a toque or a hat from Desert Tiger Podcast would. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. You have a lot of power that's in your hands. I mean, I would really love for you to go and buy a t-shirt from us too, but I would much rather you invest that time and energy towards something like the World Fires, because we are human and we support each other and we need to. We absolutely need to. And I guess there's one last thing that I have to say, and if you're new here, and I mean even to those existing guests of the show as well, don't worry, because I can already tell that we're going to be friends here in 2020. All right, you guys, I am extremely excited for the rest of this year to kick into swing, and that's going to be happening this week, this Friday, January the 10th of 2020, as we play our first episode. I would love to go and tell you who it's going to be, but I'm actually going to be doing a quick flip on Friday morning, as I have two different interviews that morning, and I will decide that morning which one I want to choose. I already have a strong idea of who it's going to be, and it's somebody who hasn't been on the show before, but if you're a returning listener, it's somebody you may have heard about on the show before, and it's somebody you're definitely going to hear more about on the Desert Tiger Podcast as well, and I can't wait for that. I will see you then, and until then, like I said before, find your mountaintop, sing your voice as beautifully as you can, because you're a beautiful human being. Bye-bye!